Starting a sustainable brand, especially in Q4, is one of the most rewarding and productive things you can be doing with your time. By the fact that you clicked on this video, I'm going to assume that you are understandably sick of this whole business model fluff. You're tired of gurus pushing dropshipping, trading, forex. You want to build something real, something with real exit value. E-commerce completely changed my life, and I'm certain it can do the same for you. I started my first brand aged 14, and then just a year later when I was 15, we hit 100,000 orders on Shopify and we got the award to show it. Starting a brand has changed so many things in my life, and I want to see the exact same success for you. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to show you how to start a real sustainable brand from scratch, not just a ROAS machine. Most startups will blindly scale their ads until one day they're swallowed up by their competition. Instead, I try to preach the message of growing brands the right way. We focus on the 5 key pillars: emails, social media, website, influencers, and affiliates. This video is going to give you an exact framework on how you can start and scale your brand without massive investment into paid advertising, allowing you to build real exit value in the years to come. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. So this is the 5-pillar system that we use to scale e-commerce brands from anywhere around 2 to 10k per month, all the way up to 50k per month and above. And this is the system that basically breaks away from just paid ads. It makes a brand everlasting, evergreen, and you eventually will get a much higher exit value. So we've got 5 different pillars. We've got email marketing, organic social media, website optimization, influencer marketing, and affiliate-based campaigns. So we're going to kick it off with affiliate marketing. There are 5 key flows that every single e-commerce brand needs installing. It doesn't matter what you're doing, even if it's a SaaS, even if it's just a personal brand, anything, you need these 5 flows. Otherwise, you are literally leaving money on the table for no reason at all. So these 5 flows are a welcome flow. This is the flow that gets triggered when someone joins your email list, whether that's because they checked out, whether that's because they just signed up for a 10% discount, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're added to this flow, and this flow is basically going to sell them your brand. Then we've got the abandoned cart flow and the abandoned checkout flow. These 2 are very similar, as you can imagine. One's just triggered when a cart is abandoned. One is triggered when a checkout is abandoned. Obviously, the abandoned cart, that doesn't get sent to as many people because some people will have stuff in their cart, but they won't have actually entered their email. So it's obviously not going to trigger the flow. But the basic premises of the abandoned cart flow and the abandoned checkout flow is to recoup lost sales. And this could go anywhere from 5 to 10% of emails that are sent out to people that abandoned will actually end up coming back to your website and checking out. Then we've got a post-purchase flow. And this can be very varied, from a very basic and a standard flow all the way up to a very advanced flow, which is going to be bringing in UGC. It's going to be bringing in affiliates, influencers, and people basically just making content for your brand for completely free. So the post-purchase flow is basically going to help reduce return rates, generate UGC, affiliates, just basically nurture your customers into long-term customers and generally increasing the lifetime value. So an example of something we could have is on like the 3rd or the 4th post-purchase flow email would have something that would say, you're entitled to a 10% discount if you submit 1 photo of you wearing our sunglasses, for example, or you're entitled to 20% off if you submit a video. This basically is just collecting UGC that you can use for ads, emails, even website stuff. Then the win-back flow. This is basically going to be on customers that haven't engaged or interacted with any of your emails in a very long time. So it's basically just a last-ditch effort on recouping that customer's attention before we put them onto the sunset flow, which is basically going to unsubscribe them from our list to save on email subscription costs. So the 2 sides of email marketing is flows and campaigns. For the campaigns, we're going to be sending at least 2 per week. With some of my clients, they like to go for 3 per week. Really, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It just depends on what message you're trying to push. General tips that I'd advise for doing this: you want consistent call to actions throughout each email. So if you're saying shop now on one email, you don't want to change that for that email. You don't want to go shop now, then claim discount, then view products. You always want the same call to action, because if not, it's just going to confuse the people on your email. Also, don't overcrowd the emails. I see a lot of people trying to put full essays into their emails, like generally essays and essays of ChatGPT copy. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the fluff. They just want straight value, or they want straight promotions. They basically want to save money. They want to gain knowledge. And if you're not doing that, people aren't going to click on your emails. Space speaks luxury. Space works for you. Key metrics on this side of things is a 40 to 70% total revenue. Now, you might see that 70% and you're like, surely that's not correct. But with some of my clients, we've seen 70% of 80K revenue being made directly from emails. And yes, that is ridiculous. But one thing that does help justify that in your mind is that a lot of that is coming from the welcome flow. So people will see the discount for like 10% off if they subscribe. They'll click on that and then they'll use the discount that's given to them, and that counts as their revenue. We want a click-through rate of above 3%. This is pretty industry standard for e-commerce, and then an open rate of above 60%. Really, you do want to push this up to 70% though. And then the tools for this is Klaviyo and Shopify. I really would not veer off Klaviyo as they are the industry leaders for a reason. They are partnered with Shopify for a reason. They are the best out there. Then the second pillar, and probably the most important pillar, is organic social media. And this is basically going to be the alternative to paid advertisements that's going to bring you traffic to your website without having to pay for it. And this just speaks so much for your brand. Being able to drive traffic for completely free, it will generally unlock your brand. It will level up the attention that you're getting. So the content framework we want to stick to is value, mission, story, product, lifestyle. Value, you basically want to target your ICP. What do they want to know? What value would help them? If you've got a running brand, you want to do running tips, you want to do cool down tips, warm-up tips, all of that kind of stuff. Mission, why do you think your product fits into its target clientele? What value do you think your product brings? What made you want to start it, and why do you think people should be interested in it? Then story, that's how you started the brand. You want like the inspirational type stuff that makes people go, oh wow, the founder's actually really cool, I want to buy from them. Represent do really well at that. Represent 247, they both do really well at that. Product, the product itself, obviously, you really want to try to put the product into viral potential reels. You don't want to just post stuff that's going to go viral if it's not got your product in, because it's obviously not going to drive conversions. So one thing I'd advise you doing is copying trends, but somehow including your product in that. Then lifestyle, as you know, Red Bull, Nike, Adidas, they all sell the lifestyle. They sell this athletic, aspirational lifestyle. They don't sell the products themselves, and that's why it works. But obviously, for a startup brand, you want to mix the two. In terms of consistency, social media is a very slow thing to start. It could take weeks or even months to start seeing some momentum. But we want to stick to our base. We want to stick to our foundations and make sure we're posting 3 to 5 times per week on every single platform. Now, you might think that is a lot, but really, let's think about it. 3 to 5 posts per week. That's 3 to 5 reels, which can also be posted on TikTok, which can also be posted on YouTube, Threads, Twitter, LinkedIn. And then also you do want some text-based stuff and some carousel-based stuff that will do especially well on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter and Threads. You do want to make sure you're posting on everything, because if you're going out of your way to film content and edit content, you might as well try and get the maximum reach. You might as well upload it on everything and hope it works. The goal here is to build a community who will in turn increase the average customer lifetime value. If you don't know what that is the average dollar amount that a customer will spend on your store in their entire lifetime. This basically will also help build hype for drops, and it will keep the brand ticking when paid ads are slow and unprofitable, which is a massive problem for most brands out there. The third pillar we have here is website optimization, and understandably, it's also a pillar that a lot of brands get wrong. We want clarity over creativity. People want to buy from you, so don't stop that process with all of this special effects and stuff that nobody actually cares about. It's just additional friction, and there's no point of it. Some key features that I would recommend you adding when you're first getting started is obviously upsells, cross-sells, quantity discounts, pop-ups. So this is stuff for emails, this is stuff for discounts, all of that kind of stuff. UGC sections, which is basically going to build into the social proof, make people feel safe when they're buying from you, and also Trustpilot references. A lot of people go with third-party review-based centers, but Trustpilot is the one that everyone trusts. For obvious reasons, if they see that you've got a good Trustpilot score, they are much more likely to shop with you. The goal here is a 3% conversion rate for beginner brands and a 4% for semi-established brands. So this is brands doing probably over 20K per month. The storytelling. The hero section should instantly answer, what do you sell, who is it for, and why is it different? The hero section is arguably one of the most important parts of the website, because it's what everyone sees when they land on your page. So you want that first image, that first bit of text, and that first call to action to tell the customer everything they need to know. In terms of CRO essentials, I could literally go on endlessly. And if you want a free CRO checklist, join the Discord below and I'll send it over. Anyway, firstly, we've got the above the fold principle. And this basically means you want the call to action, you want the add to cart, and you want reviews, variants, titles, images, all above the initial fold on the product page. And if you don't know what I mean by the initial fold, I basically mean the first section that people see when they land on your website without having to scroll at all. Secondly, we have sticky add to cart on mobile. And this basically means if a user is on a product page and they scroll down to go look at reviews or UGC or stuff like that, the add to cart button will basically stick at the bottom of their screen so they can always add to cart no matter where they are on the website. Then we've also obviously got social proof and UGC below the add to cart button. So this basically means if the user scrolls past the add to cart button, they're obviously not going to purchase. They want to hear more from you. They want to see more from you. And this social proof and UGC is basically going to reassure them that the purchase is the right thing for them. If they don't have this social proof and UGC, even if you have the best description in the world, they probably aren't going to buy from you. Because if they scroll past your add to cart button, they need some reassurance. Then we've obviously got the basic stuff, trust badges, free shipping bar, and reviews. And another thing that a lot of brands get wrong is importance-based navigation. So the menu that you see at the top of your screen or on the little drawer if you're on mobile should always go home, shop, about, contact. That's the order you need to stick to, nothing else. You don't want shop to be third or even second. You need shop to be first. The fourth thing we are going to be talking about is influencer marketing. And this, once again, is for some reason something that a lot of brands get wrong. So there are 3 different creator types that you can target. Firstly, we have nano creators, and this tends to be creators from 1,000 followers to 10,000 followers. And really here, you're focusing on the best conversion rate. Because if this influencer has a very small market and a very small audience, their audience is going to trust them a lot more. They have a very niche, a very select audience. They probably know their audience by name. So if they promote something, it's going to sell. Then in the middle, we've got micro influencers. And this is any influencer from 10,000 all the way to 50,000. And this is going to have the best content volume. They're going to be the best at pushing content out. They're going to be the most frequent when it comes to pushing content out too. Then we've also got mid-tier influencers. These tend to get a bit more expensive. So when you're starting out, it might not be worth it. And this is anywhere from 50,000 followers to 250,000 followers. And this is really going to give you a burst of awareness. This category of influencers is the type of thing where if you pay them to do a promotion, if you pay them to do a story post, you will see a significant boost in sales on that day. However, this can understandably cost thousands, if not tens of thousands, hundreds of £1,000s in some cases too. So the 3 types of offers that generally get offered to influencers is gifted collabs, which is a UGC focus, commission collabs, which is basically an affiliate hybrid. So you're paying them a set amount, which could be £100, it could be £300, and then you're also giving them like 10% of any sales they generate. Then we also have paid collabs, which is basically in return for them getting you content, and then you can therefore use it as social proof. For the system here, it's pretty simple. You want weekly outreach to 20 new creators. You want to be tracking content and campaign status on Google Sheets to make sure you're not sending out to influencers and then they don't actually make you anything. You want to be tracking, you want to be following up if they don't send you anything, and you can even use contracts if you're just getting started and you're scared that people are just going to rip you off. You want to repurpose the content into ads, emails, and social content to really squeeze every bit of exposure you can from that money you spent. And the targets here is 10 new UGC videos per month, 3 long-term ambassadors by month too. So the final pillar we're going to talk about is affiliate campaigns. In terms of who to recruit, we've got existing customers because they already trust you. They already believe in your product. And this goes even further. If they've shopped with you twice or even 3 times, they really fuck with you. They really like what you're doing. And they would happily sell that to their friends or their family, just anything like that. They trust you, they believe in you, so why not let them make money in doing so? We also got micro influencers, which is the middle tier of creators that we took from the influencer marketing. So these are going to be medium difficulty to recruit. Sometimes they want paying, or sometimes they will just do it for the affiliate commission. Also, we've got ambassadors, athletes, team members, and family friends. So this is basically people that know the true story about the business. They know who you are, they know who the founder is, they fuck with you. So they would happily sell that product to any. Commission strategy, industry standard is 10 to 20% per sale. However, you might need to move this down or up depending on how profitable your margins are. We can also run bonuses for top performers each month. This could be an influencer trip, this could be gift packages, this could be cash bonuses, anything like that. The tools we're going to use for that is Bixgrow affiliates, Shopify collabs, although I have seen some bad reviews for Shopify collabs. Personally, with my clients, we use Bixgrow affiliates. Anyway, these apps are basically going to track sales, do auto pay via PayPal, and issue monthly reports for your team to look at. In terms of the content, you want to be leveraging that once again in every single area you can. encourage affiliates to share unboxing, testimonials, anything like that that's basically going to build into the social proof even more. And you want to turn their content into TikToks, Reels, emails, even some website content. KPI targets is 10 active affiliates. This should issue you a 15 to 20% sales uplift. And you also want 100 plus affiliates overall. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you found value in this video. If you are a founder, if you are looking to become a founder, I welcome you into my free Discord server. It's basically a community of hundreds of hungry founders wanting to start or already starting their own business. Also, you have access to me as a 7-figure e-commerce founder. You'll be receiving all the knowledge you could ever want for completely free, weekly calls with me, and basically a brotherhood of founders who can always pick you up when you're at your lowest. Anyway, if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.